In any case, good morning, everyone, and welcome virtually to Bodie State Historic Park. My name is Hillary Colyer. I am the state park interpreter here at Bodie, which is one of over 280 California state parks. And yes, and let me just double check to make sure we're getting participants signed in, like logging in. Awesome. Got quite a few so far. That is great. So once again, welcome to Bodie. Today's program is called Historical Steam. And while the gold miners here back in the day did use steam power to energize their mining a lot of their mining equipment, that's not what I'm talking about when I say historical steam. I am going to talk about some of the science, technology, engineering, art, and math that people practiced here 100 and more years ago. Yes, there was steam back then too. But before I talk to you more about Bodie and really get into the flow of the program, I'm going to take a moment to make sure everybody has the materials they need. So I'm going to shift down here and we're going to go through my backpack and compare with what you have with you. You don't have anything at your desk or table. You can get that when I start repacking my backpack after we've double checked everything we need. Well, we need markers for coloring. And you'll need some tape for obvious reasons. Also, you will need, I didn't get this on the list of materials, so sorry for that, but some nice copy or printer paper, normal size, letter size, for use in our activity. And you will also either need flattened cardboard box. If this part is still stuck together, go ahead and pull that apart so that it's just one piece. Or rather than that flattened cardboard box, you could alternatively have cardboard rolls from toilet paper, paper towel, wrapping paper, whatever, and plastic bags of some kind. Just make sure they're clean. We don't want any food residue left on anything. And oh, yep, at the bottom of my bag, scissors. You will also need scissors. So while I get my backpack repacked here, if you don't have any of that, go ahead and go grab that. Give me a moment. I'm trying to use the cardboard to keep my my paper from getting messed up in here. Get the tape back in there and get my backpack back on. And you can hear, I don't know if you can hear now, but the otherwise quiet of Bodie is being interrupted by an airplane passing overhead. It is usually very, very quiet here in winter. Okay, and those of you that have all your materials ready to go at your desk or table, maybe you can join me in a nice big stretch while we wait for everybody else to get back. Oh, that feels so good. All right, and then we are going to take a look around and see Bodie State Historic Park. Ta-da! This is what was once the big, busy gold and silver mining town of Bodie, California. Now it is Bodie State Historic Park, a ghost town and a California state park. Most of the town here was built, and well, this is just what's left of it, but most of the town here was built in the late 1870s and early 1880s. So most of these buildings here are over 140 years old. Goodness. And look at all that snow. these must have been very well built and well maintained buildings to still be up after 140 years. And I also think you might be wondering, what is an old West ghost town doing covered in snow? This doesn't match your image at all, does it? Well, Bodie is in what we call a high desert. So it's at over 8,300 feet of elevation, high in the mountains of the Eastern Sierra. And while it can be hot and dry here in summer, and you're not really seeing any trees, in winter, it can snow a lot and get rather cold. Right. But the sun is still bright, which is, apologies for keeping the sunglasses on, but it is much too bright out here for me to not have them. And it is still cold enough for me to need my beanie, my jacket, and at least some hand coverings here. It's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit out here right now. Maybe by the time this program is finished, we might be up to freezing. It was 9 degrees earlier this morning, and overnight here in winter, it can get down as cold as sorry about the glitch. All right, sorry about the glitch there, everyone. Pardon me while I get straightened out again. I do hate it when the spirits of Bodie interfere with my programming and broadcasts. But yes, so we're going to take a look at this over 140-year-old house. Not bad for 140 years old. But even this being one of the best preserved houses in Bodie, even then, if you look closely here and there, you can see places where there are gaps in the woodwork, little holes and places where the wood is separating. And yeah, there are houses here that are in worse shape. And houses now will have insulation, that special padding, or filling in the walls to keep them from getting too hot or too cold. But these, most of these over 140-year-old houses, nope, zero insulation. So how did people keep them warm? With no insulation and it being colder than a freezer? Well, to give you an idea, let's take a piece of your cardboard or one of your cardboard rolls, and pardon the background noise as my colleague gets a snowmobile going. I will take this opportunity to say that yes, we are snowed in here at Bodie, and we have to use snowmobiles and snowcats to get in and out. You'll see our snowcat later. Yeah, so take a piece of cardboard or a cardboard roll, and if you're near a window that opens or a freezer or a cooler, you can use that. I am not, but I have this handy dandy snow right here. If you're not near a freezer or window or cooler, anything like that, you can try, or it's too warm outside, you can try this later. Just don't do it any longer than 30 seconds. So wrap a couple of your fingers, don't get your fingers stuck, so just 2 fingers in the cardboard roll, or wrap some cardboard around it, and open that window or freezer and put your hand out into that cold. And yeah, if you're able to try this now, can you feel the difference? The cardboard is actually insulating us from some of that cold. Now, if you have proper winter clothing, I don't recommend we're trying to wear cardboard. When you've got that properly fitted clothing, but in a pinch, if you don't have anything else, cardboard can keep you warm. And go ahead, if you haven't closed that freezer or that window, close it now so we're not wasting energy. And there we go. And just the same way that cardboard can keep you warm, it can keep the houses here in Bodie warm. We're gonna go to this house, pardon me while I flip the camera again, right here, the Miller house. We're gonna go inside here. I'm afraid that door is kind of barred for the winter, so we're gonna have to go around to the back door. Pardon me as my tripod catches on the sagebrush. Yes, and while I'm walking here, just a little side note, these are our snowcats. Those are big snow transports we use this time of year because the roads are covered in snow. Of course, in the old times in Bodie, they didn't use snowcats. They used sleds and sleighs drawn by horses, and they even had snowshoes for their horses. If you visit the park, you can see those snowshoes for horses in our museum. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave the tripod outside so I don't catch it on anything here. And here we are inside the Miller house. I'm gonna take a look here first a little bit, and the beautiful kitchen in here. And you can see this room and the next rooms, there's brightly colored wallpaper all over the walls. Now, not only does that really make the room more colorful and attractive, but it can add a little bit of insulation to the walls to keep things warmer. But what is better than that wallpaper and is also reused and repurposed? This cardboard. Look, every last bit of cardboard on these walls was once a cardboard box that carried food or other supplies here into Bodie 80 or more years ago. Look, you can even see where the cans were resting on the cardboard. And then, yes, while it's nowhere near as pretty as the wallpaper, it can really help to keep these rooms warm. Much more so than that bare wood over there. And of course, if they had gotten it a little more even, they could have covered that cardboard with some of that paper. So amazing, right? So, but even back in the late 19th and early 20th century, before there was any recycling, people were reusing and repurposing so many materials in so many different ways, including for keeping their houses insulated. So let's explore more of the town and see what else people did here to use repurpose materials to keep their houses warm and dry in winter. I'm gonna head back over to Green Street. I have to walk carefully over the snow here so I don't sink in. That would make for some very shaky camera work. And see this big barn here. And then we're gonna head over to, we're gonna head along Green Street here and explore the town a little more. First, we're gonna look at this little saddle room right here. So you can see, maybe there's a little bit, we're backlit now. Unfortunate lighting in the morning here, but with the sun, the snow gets too soft to walk safely around here later in the afternoon, but you can see that roof is covered with tin. I don't know specifically about this roof here, but most of the tin on the buildings here in Bodie, on the roofs and walls, are actually repurposed tin. And yes, looking at the different sizes of the tin on this saddle room, I'm pretty sure those are all repurposed tin cans. Cool. And there's an even better example that we can get a look at further along Green Street here. Harvey Boone's old store on the corner of Main and Green has an entire wall covered in tin. And yeah, that shop was built around 1879. And apologies in advance if we get a little glitchy again. As I walk closer to Main Street, I will be changing between Wi-Fi routers, and it could cause some lag or glitching in the production. In the meantime, enjoy the scenery, take a look around, and also enjoy the sound of the snow crunching under my boots as I walk here along Green Street. Just look at all that snow. Like I said, even now, the snow makes it very difficult to get in and out of here in the winter. So it's very challenging to go shopping and bring in some other supplies. So in the wintertime, people in Bodie up with lots and lots of canned food. And they'd also buy big cans of this oil called kerosene. They'd burn it to light lamps and also sometimes for heat. Do with all those tin cans when you're done. I mean, today you could put it in a recycling bin and someone would come and pick it up. But here in Bodie in the 1880s, even in the 1930s, that was not an option. So what could you do if you didn't want a horrible mountain of ugly old tin cans? Ta-da! This wall here is entirely covered with old tin cans from food or kerosene oil that have been cleaned up, flattened out, and put on the wall here to cover the wood. That must have taken a lot of work. And I actually think it looks rather attractive. Lots of different colors in there. But besides looking interesting, why did he do that? Well, if we look a little around, we'll hear more. Why would Harvey Boone cover his store in tin? Well, let's look at the front of the store here. Look around a little more. And then also look at some of the other buildings around here. You can see places where there are gaps in the woodwork or little holes. So those gaps in the woodwork can let in drafts of cold air. It can let in the wind, sometimes even snow and rain. That can make it very hard to keep your shop or your home warm. And once again, new trees here. So there's wood for making repairs to wooden buildings would have been in very limited supply and would have also been expensive. So why not tin? I mean, it's abundant, it lasts a very long time, and it's cheap. Free even, because it came free with your food or your kerosene. And even if you didn't have the time or energy to cover an entire wall with that tin, well, you could use little pieces of it here and there to cover up holes or gaps in the walls for a little patch job. So those little round pieces of tin you see on this building here, they are covering woodpecker holes. Yeah, pretty cool. And coming up here on the right, also horribly backlit in the morning sun, is a little house that is almost entirely covered in tin, and most of it is repurposed. Just look at all. I'm going to shift around to the other side here. Just look at all those little pieces of tin all over there. each one of them was once a can that held food or oil or lard. And I don't know if you noticed, but even the top of the stovepipe, their little chimney, was a repurposed can. Wow, so cool. And coming up here on the schoolhouse, this was also built in 1879, and it was used until 1942. And even on the schoolhouse, you can see where there's been some tin used to patch up holes. Yeah. Yes, we're actually going to go inside this old schoolhouse to do our craft activity. Pardon the shaky camera work while I dismount this snowbank. Just a note, we don't normally leave these buildings unlocked like this, but to make things faster now, I left them that way. And as you can see, there's very little worry about too many people coming in right now. So here we are, the old schoolhouse. I just chose this location for a couple of reasons. One, I know students especially love to see this old schoolhouse. And two, take a look here. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So walking around the town, we saw that 100 more years ago, they were historically practicing STEAM here. Now we can see that they also historically taught STEAM in this school. That makes it the perfect place for our craft activity. Pardon me while I get repositioned here. Also, I have set up a more modern table here for doing the craft activity so that I'm not messing up any antiques, and also so it's not covered in dust. Hopefully everyone will be able to see well enough, and you'll have to give me a moment to get set up. And get my materials that are in my backpack out. I left some of the bigger pieces here already. Okay, paper, cardboard. I already have another tape dispenser here. Markers, cardboard rolls, plastic bags, scissors. Hopefully I don't make too much of a mess here. Okay. Everybody else ready to go? So, we walked around Bodie. We saw how the people in the past here, Bodyites in the old days, used repurposed materials to keep their houses warm and dry. But what can we do here? Well, we can't use tin because one, we didn't prepare it, and two, it's going to be pretty hard for us to work with it. But we do have all this cardboard, like cardboard that our packages came in or that our paper products were around. But we have insulation in our walls now. We don't really need to cover an entire wall with cardboard, but one place that a home can lose a lot of heat or let a lot of cold in is a window, even when it's closed. And windows like this one that open by pulling them up from the bottom, they can let in wind and cold drafts of air a lot, especially along the bottom. And even if the bottom isn't very drafty, the window itself can be thin and uninsulated and let in quite a bit of cold. So that's where our craft work and our materials are going to come into play. If you have a flattened piece of cardboard, you can use that to make a window cover. to stop the cold from coming in that way. And you can put that on there at night, so that just like cardboard insulated the houses here in Bodie, this cardboard can insulate your window against the coldest time, nighttime. If you have cardboard rolls and plastic bags, well, we can make a draft stopper to put along the bottom of the window here to stop the cold air from coming in so much. And this craft is actually kind of my favorite because using these plastic bags are just horrible bits of garbage. They can be so bad for the environment if you throw them out, and they can be really hard to recycle, especially in these times. But squish down and put inside our rolls, this plastic can make great insulation. And yeah, it won't go into the environment. Now, many of you may not have, I know most of you probably try to avoid getting one single use plastic grocery bags, but even a lot of our food products and other things we order will come wrapped in the same kind of plastic or even padded with it. So there's plenty of plastic we can use for insulation rather than throwing it away and making a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and get our people with cardboard, the people making crafting window covers started first. If you have your tubes, go ahead and keep an eye on what I'm doing and stand by. But for our window cover crafters, what you can do here, I'm going to get you started making a nice design here. So you have a couple options here for how to decorate your window cover. You can use markers to draw. Should have gotten these out earlier. You can use markers to draw directly on the cardboard if you want to. Just like this. Any design you want, like a big picture or a little picture pattern or pictures and words. Whatever catches your fancy, just try to choose colors that are going to match the room that you're going to use this in. Or if you're worried about making a mistake on the cardboard, pardon me, I've made a mess here already. If you're worried about making a mess on the cardboard or you want an easier time drawing, you want to work just a little bit at a time, you can draw on paper and then glue or tape that paper. Yes, I didn't mention it in our supplies, but if you have glue, you can use that for some of the things here instead of tape. Yeah, you can glue or tape that paper onto the cardboard. Drawing directly on the cardboard does save you some paper. But if you make a mistake, you can just cover it with paper later. But if you draw on paper and then tape or glue that on later, you can cover up any mistakes, and also you can cover up these little seams and gaps here if you think they look kind of ugly. And of course, if you're very particular about your drawings, you can start out in pencil. You can start drawing with pencil. That's me kind of doing a very, very not so great puppy dog here. And then you can color in with marker later. I'm going to make it a blue-eyed dog in honor of one of our dogs here in the park, one of our ranger's dogs that has blue eyes. She's a pretty dog named Parker. So just like that, whether you're drawing, starting with pencil and then coloring with marker, or just going straight to the markers, whether you're going right on the cardboard or drawing on paper, you go ahead and get started decorating that paper or that cardboard, drawing whatever safe for school picture or design you want. And I'm gonna get our folks making the draft stoppers started. All right, draft stopper crafters. Sorry for the wait. So the first thing we're gonna do making our draft stopper is you're gonna take, okay, if your cardboard roll is a wrapping paper roll, you're good. It is plenty long enough. It's actually probably too long, depending on the size of your window. You don't need to do any taping. But if you have toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls, why don't you take 2 of those, hold them together close as you can, and then take a piece of tape and matching up the ends as close as possible. Tape that together. You're gonna need more than 1 piece of tape here. Hopefully not more than 3. And try and make sure that you get the edges nicely matched up here and the tape as smooth as possible. There we go. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pencil or any color marker. I'm going to use green just so that if I get some marker on my fingers, it'll match my uniform. And so hold up 2 fingers to the edge of one end of your tube. If you have big fingers like me, you might want to use your 2 smallest fingers, and you're just going to mark a line on the roll there. And you're going to turn it and keep going around. One. You might have to use the inner part of the scissors if you've got nice firm cardboard rolls like this one. We're going to do that about 5 or 6 times around, trying to go equal distance. 2, 3, 4. For me, 5 did it. Awesome. So now we've got these little tabs here at the end, and we can fold those in like this. And then just like this. So you can see it closes it off. And of course, we've got our tape right here, so we can tape those tabs down to close off the end of our draft stopper. Try not to overdo the tape. Use just enough to make sure that it stays down. And there we go. So if one or both of the rolls you used were paper towel rolls, your roll is long enough. You don't need to add any more for now. You don't need to add any more, but if like me, both of your rolls are toilet paper rolls. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. It happens sometimes. I'm just so excited to be here with you. I haven't met many visitors here in the wintertime. Yes, so we're going to take what we've got so far, and we're going to squish down some of those plastic bags and use them to stuff this. You don't have to do it too tightly. And you may have to use a capped marker or a pencil to push the plastic down in there. But you're gonna stuff what we've done so far with plastic bags to about 1 inch or so. And then, like I said, paper towel, if one or both of these are paper towel rolls, you're long enough. But if it's toilet paper rolls, we're going to tape on one more roll for now, just like before, matching up the edges as best we can. Once again, sorry about that. Our Wi-Fi is coming right here out of the schoolhouse. Another reason I chose this location. So I have no idea why our connection would blip out like that. But yes, go ahead and keep stuffing your tube here. And yeah, that's all the length and all the stuffing we're gonna do for now. I am afraid that you will have to finish this this project after the program. Also, possibly if you're doing this at school right now, you might have to finish it when you get home, because you're going to have to match up the length to whatever window or door. So if your windows aren't drafty, you can put this at the bottom of a door, match to whatever window or door, and keep adding rolls to it till it's about an inch longer than you need. And then you would seal the other end after stuffing it and decorating it, seal the other end just like this. And as for decorating our draft stopper, well, you can see I did a little practice session, and trying to draw right on the cardboard was pretty difficult to roll because it's round. It rolls around, it's hard to draw on, and also this tape looks ugly. So a better way to decorate this is to draw our design on paper and then glue or tape it on the roll later. So first thing we're going to do for that is to take one of your sheets of paper, fold it in half carefully. Keep it as even, try to keep it nice and even. So right down the middle here. Crease it so you get a nice line to help us. And my fingers are a little cold, so I'm having trouble unfolding my paper. Then we're going to cut. So make sure, yeah, you cut it, you fold it in half like this. And now we're going to try to carefully cut along that line to have 2 halves of paper. And the thing about this half of paper, why I had to do this, is because that half of paper is the perfect width to wrap around the average roll, cardboard roll, from a paper towel or toilet paper. And you'll see how when the paper folds around that you can't see very much of it at any one time. So that gives you an idea that whatever design you draw, if you have one big picture like my not so great dog picture, and you try to roll around, you're not going to see it. So best to keep the design simple and small, like a little pattern or even words. So you might draw, get up closer here for you. You might draw animal shapes like fish, or you could go for animal heads, And if you already know what you want to do, go ahead and get started. Animal heads. I'm just trying to draw very quickly here. Not that I'm a great artist to begin with. You could draw flowers, clovers, like I tried on that other roll. You could just do, nice little ocean waves. If you like a wave pattern. Mountains covered in snow. What else could we do? Oh, you could just do, you could do little trees. Best to keep it simple if you're in the image kind of small. If you're really a good artist and you can draw really small, you can do characters. And of course, just like our window cover crafters, if you are very particular about your drawings, you can start out drawing in pencil. There's a very simple tree that I will go over with, I can go over with green and brown later. Yeah, you can start in pencil and color with the marker later. If you're very talented, you could do very little pictures of cartoon or video game characters. And or just do words like, let me see, I'm gonna write Bodie. Or you can even make a design with words, like you do nice block letters. Another idea is, if, like me, your artistic skills are not up to your imagination, you could even just do blocks of color, like stripes. You do a pattern of stripes or geometric shapes. Go ahead and keep drawing or decorating on both halves of that paper so that we can put that on the tube a little later. Where I'm going to go back to our window cover crafters. Window cover crafters. Even if you're still drawing or coloring, I'd like you to take a little time out. And I'm going to demonstrate something you're going to need to do. You can do some of it now. You can finish it later if need be. So you can see all these places where there are breaks here, where when it had life as a box. We're going to put some tape across the edge here on both sides. You're going to need to do both sides to get it to stay together. Apologies again. I really don't know what is going on with our Wi-Fi today. Nobody else is using it because there aren't that many people here. It isn't just me, but it should just be me using the internet right now. But yes, so you're gonna tape these gaps together. If you have enough regular tape, you can do that across the entire gap and get all of them all around your you can use it to go across the entire, you can use that stronger, heavier tape to go across the entire gap. And even if you want it less floppy, to go across the fold as well. Yes. And you're going to want to do that on the outside, what was the outside of the box, the side you're not decorating, so that tape doesn't show up too much. And once you are, you've got that entire, like you've got those pieces taped together, you're on one, like our draft stopper crafters, you are going to have to finish this project after the program, because you're going to need to size it to whatever window you're using. You might have to, if it's too big, you might have to cut it. If you wanted to make it big enough to cover the whole window, you might need to tape multiple pieces of cardboard together to make it bigger. And if you're drawing on paper and gluing and taping that paper there, you're going to need many sheets of paper to cover that whole thing. And yeah, it's going to look pretty interesting. And the other thing is you can also use paper to decorate this side as well if you want both sides here decorated. But in either case, the finished project is probably going to be a little too floppy to stay in the window on its own. So you may need to hold it in place with something, hold it to your window with something when you want to use it as a cover. So if you're going to use tape, use a masking tape, because this tape will not leave marks on your window and will also not peel your paint. Do not use heavy tape like packing tape or duct tape. Those will make a mess on your window and they will peel your paint if you're taping it to the window frame. So if you use tape, use masking tape. And other ideas include poster tack and clear adhesive, like removable clear adhesive bonding squares or adhesive mounting squares. That's the thing I'm thinking of. So there's other ways you can get it on there. Poster tack, sticky tack. Yes. So you can carry on a little more doing your decoration while I get back to the draft stopper crafters. And like I said, everybody's going to have to finish, including me, is going to have to finish their work after this program. Oh, sorry, one quick note. If you are taping your paper rather than gluing, if you're drawing on paper and you're taping it on rather than gluing, make these little, do the tape like this, where you make the little loops and put it on all four corners to stick it on. So that way you don't have the tape showing. And it's not going to be an awful mess. Yeah, you would just match it up to an edge and like that. So, sorry. Now back to our draft stopper crafters. So, even if neither of your halves of paper are quite ready to go yet, if you're not ready to attach it yet, just pause for a moment and to watch me. See, but if you are ready to go, we can do it together. Sorry, my tape is already starting to come loose because it is so dusty in here. Sorry about that. So you're going to take, if you're ready to go, or when you're ready to go, you can take your just did. So don't worry, sorry, once again, don't worry too much about if there's little gaps in, oops, sorry. I am a walking disaster today. I am so sorry, everyone. Yeah, even if you have gaps or there's a tape showing, it's not a problem because once you put it in your window or at the bottom of your door to stop the drafts, that tape can be on bottom and hidden. So no problem at all. Ugh, I am so sorry about the internet. Really no idea what is going on today. So, but we're, and so apologies that this craft does take longer and does need more time than just what we've allotted for this program. But when you're decorating either of these at home, some other ideas for decorating, instead of drawing right on them, or instead of drawing on paper and gluing or taping that on, other ways you can decorate it are old wrapping paper. So your or other family members' presents, if you can keep from ripping the paper too much, you can keep that and use it to decorate your draft stopper or window cover. And hey, yay, that's more reuse too. You can do that if you're making another one, if you want to cover up your bad, like a bad design you did today, or if you want to decorate the other side of your window cover in another way. Wrapping paper. You can also use origami paper. That's another thing you could use. For the window cover, you could also use coloring book pages. You could tape coloring book page, tray for glue coloring book pages onto there. You could even turn this draft stopper, so this window cover, into a bulletin board. You can use duct tape around the edges to make a nice border, and then you can use it as a bulletin board to put up artwork, schoolwork, birthday cards, stickers, whatever you feel like. It can be a functional bulletin board as well as something that keeps the cold from coming in your window. And as for other ideas that you can do at home, there's other ways that you can make a draft stopper. Also filled with plastic bags. If you have these, crochet, and this is my work in progress for a crocheted draft stopper. Not quite long enough for the window yet, But I crochet. Many of family members crochet, and we always have little bits of leftover yarn from different projects without much idea of what to use to it. So you can knit or crochet a tube like this and stuff it with plastic bags, just like our cardboard draft stopper. And you can make a draft stopper that way. If you can sew, if you search online, I know for a fact you can find a sewing pattern to make a draft stopper filled with plastic bags. And that could be a fun project to do at home, especially if you have friends who like to craft with you. So yes, you can finish and decorate your window cover or draft stopper that you did here. You can make additional ones with cardboard or other materials. And if you have any other great ideas about how you can use repurposed materials to keep your house more energy efficient, that is, to make it so that you use less energy to keep it hot or cold. To the very end. This program's not cooperating. So, Parks online resources for teachers and students, that's California State Park Ports, and Bodie State Historic Park are on Facebook and Instagram. You can share, so if your parent, guardian, or teacher is also on those platforms, they can share your ideas or photos of your finished project on there. Just don't share any photos with your faces in them for privacy reasons, and make sure the page you find has this symbol so you know it's official. And yes, thank you so much for joining me today. Apologies for all the glitches we had. If you need to go back and look over some of the other materials, I will have to set up on, I should have this set up on YouTube later. And also I will share on our Facebook page, I will share that YouTube video, and that is a great place for Bodie State Historic Park's Facebook page where you can share your photos or your ideas. And until I see you virtually or in person here in Bodie, probably when the snow melts, have a great time. If you can't get, if Bodie's a little too far away for you, find another great California State Park or beach near you and visit that. Or if you're not feeling outdoorsy right now, get on California State Park Port's webpage and find other fantastic programs that hopefully won't glitch so much. But yes, once again, thank you so much for joining me. Good luck finishing your projects here. Sorry we